Hello everyone, welcome to Circle Chess. In this video, I will be analyzing a game I played against Alvaro Ajedrez. I don't know how to pronounce it, from Spain. So I got black pieces. The game starts with e4, d6, d4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6. All pretty standard. It's like you can say modern defense. Queen d2, knight b d7, f3. Now I play c6 to take control of the center squares. Castles. I go a5, trying to go b5 and attack on this side because the king has castled here, queen side. So I go b5. Opponent tries to attack on this side. I go b4, knight to e2. Now here I make a very big mistake. I go c5, which was a mistake. I thought take and then take with a knight is good, but I don't have knight takes the bishop. My knight takes the pawn because the bishop will just take my knight, and I can't take because then the queen will take my queen. The king can't take the queen because rook is guarding the opponent's queen. So it was a mistake. Now opponent takes. Now the best move here was knight to e5, but I don't know why I played knight to c5. It's just a piece blunder. Now I thought how to recover from it. The one thing came to my mind is somehow if I can get this bishop, it will be good. So I thought if I have this knight fork of the bishop and the queen, then it's good. For that I thought if I take this pawn, then opponent will take and I have the fork, and also I get the pawn. So I go here. Opponent doesn't take the bishop. That was the best move. The bishop d4 is the best move. I go here, attacking this pawn. Opponent goes knight to f4, trying to take the bishop and trade off the pieces. I don't want to trade the pieces, so I take the pawn. Now I take this pawn. Opponent checks. I go king f8. Opponent takes the pawn. I take the queen. Rook takes my queen. I go b3 to protect my bishop, and I don't let the opponent play b3 because if the opponent gets to play b3, then my bishop is trapped. Now opponent goes bishop c6, attacking my rook. I go rook c8, attacking the bishop. Now if the bishop move, I can take the c2 pawn. Now opponent goes bishop c7, which is a blunder. Opponent thought if I take this bishop, then it's checkmate because the rook will go d8. I go knight e7 to block. The rook will take the knight. Bishop is guarding the rook and my king has no squares. It's checkmate. But here I can go bishop h6, pinning the knight to the rook, and knight is guarded by the bishop only. And now I can take the bishop because I have an escape square with king g7 after I play bishop h6, so it's a blunder. I go bishop h6. Now if I take the bishop, the rook d8 thing cannot work because I go king g7, but opponent goes anyway. I take. Now bishop has to take the rook and leave guard of the knight, so takes the rook. I take the knight. Opponent moves the king. I take the pawn. Now I go king g7, attacking this bishop. Bishop takes. I go rook c8, pinning the bishop to the king. Opponent takes my knight. I take the bishop. Now opponent goes b3, just trapping my bishop. I take this bishop because I know the bishop is trapped and it will be taken. Opponent goes king b2 to grab the bishop. I take the pawn so that I at least get a pawn. So opponent takes. Now I check. Opponent goes king a4. Now I go bishop to d2, trying to protect the pawn. Opponent goes knight e2, developing the knight. I go rook b2, so that when I move the bishop, there is a discovered attack on the knight. Knight goes d4, which was a blunder, but because opponent had only 14 seconds, I wanted to put pressure on the time, so I was also playing fast. And that's why I didn't see this rook b4 fork of the king and the knight. I instead go bishop b4. Opponent goes knight c6. So knight c6 to attack this pawn, because a knight can take the pawn. I will take the knight, and king will take the bishop. So the opponent will have an extra pawn. So I check first. Now opponent goes here. Now I go here, because if the opponent gets an extra pawn, I can take this pawn and it will be equal. Opponent takes my bishop, who takes the pawn. I take this pawn. Now opponent goes rook d1. I go rook f4, forking the pawn and the king. Opponent goes c5. I take the pawn. Opponent checks. I go here, and opponent goes rook d7, pinning this f4 f pawn for promoting, but I can promote h pawn. So it's game over for the opponent. I check, and opponent runs out of time, but it's losing for him anyway. So that was the game. It was a very up and down game. So that's it for this video. I hope you like it. Please do subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you in next video. Do fill out this subscriber games form in the description down below for me to analyze your games and guess your elo in the upcoming videos.